For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crying in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
Being serious about putting the people first. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the world's most monitored talk show, NewsSpin, on Power 97.9 FM. The broadcast is also on the NewsSpin Facebook page, as well as the NewsSpin YouTube channel. We go up until 2 o'clock this afternoon, and during the course of the broadcast, Amanda will be going through some of the comments in the chat room. And of course, I'll be engaging you via your calls at 452-2979, 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026. Putting the people first. That would include victims of violent crimes in this country. That ought to include the 3 men who were gunned down in Chopé, Bas-Denis, Wednesday of last week. Why should I make that point? It is because for the authorities, and that would include the National Security Minister and Prime Minister, the Home Affairs Minister, and the Minister with responsibility for crime prevention, those people as if they never existed. Or maybe they're the closest thing to a canine. And we know how some people treat dogs in St. Lucia. A vehicle would crash into a canine, and for some individuals, no big deal. Might as well allow the carcass to stay there on the road, and that will be the job of solid waste or the Castries Constituencies Council to pick up the remains of that animal, and we move on. There's this deafening silence in this country when things happen directly to the citizenry, as if it is a ploy, as if it is something that is deliberate. It is an approach that is taken by this administration not to highlight, focus, and stress on the ills in this society that are directly impacting the people of this country. So they flit from issue to issue. They move on from the high cost of living. They move on for the high cost of petrol at the pump. They move on the fact that lives are being snuffed out ever so often in St. Lucia. They don't focus on 77 homicides for the year 2024. Never focus on the fact that you have, in some cases, teenagers being killed, grandmothers being killed. And so what do you say to the relatives of those 3 men who were gunned down in Bardini? What do you say directly to them as the National Security Minister of this country, when you claim to care so much about the citizens? And I wonder whether through the actions of the National Security Minister that many of you in this country can deduce that all he cares about is re-election, and therefore he does not deal squarely and openly with those things that are happening to you, that are affecting you in a direct manner, because he's afraid that somehow people will see him as being weak, as being incompetent as the island's National Security Minister. That is not the approach that the authorities, particularly of late, are taking over in Trinidad and Tobago in the aftermath of that April 28th general election. What I'm talking about? Prime Minister Kamala Persad Bissessa is on record as having said that within the next 6 months, she is working diligently to bring crime under some level of control in the Twin Island Republic. Over 600 homicides last year. She does not want a repetition this year. In the case of St. Lucia, the Prime Minister tells you that he's not a policeman. Well, Kamala Persad Bissessa is an attorney and not a police officer. And she's taken ownership of this crime problem in her country because she knows she has that responsibility as the duly elected MP and the individual who has assumed the position of Prime Minister to ensure that law and order is maintained in a country. In St. Lucia, jazz season, the Prime Minister is quite energetic, mounting the stage at the Minnephilip Park, welcoming visitors to St. Lucia, declaring the Jazz Festival open. I think it was that same Wednesday that you had that triple homicide. Days after, at the various events, still not a word from the Prime Minister, from the National Security Minister, from the Home Affairs Minister, from the Crime Prevention Minister about that heinous crime which occurred on the island. And I know that over the last few months, from time to time, we have recorded a couple triple homicides. But I do not believe that the authorities should be so neglectful as to see this as a way of life in our country. And definitely, the people of this country should take note as to whether through his actions, his response to what transpired last week Wednesday, whether the Prime Minister truly is putting the people first. On the other hand, Gaster Brown, his Antigua and Barbuda counterpart, just recently, he left his homeland, traveled to Miami, and there was a homicide. This is what he posted on his Facebook page. And it reads, "I just landed in Miami and was greeted by the sad news about the tragic death of a young lady during the Labor Day celebrations. I extend sincere condolences to the family of the deceased. I just landed in Miami and was greeted by the sad news about the tragic death of a young lady during the Labor Day celebrations. I extend sincere condolences to the family of the deceased." That's according to the Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, Gaston Brown. It is not a triple homicide. It is not a double homicide in Antigua. And realize the response of the leader of that country. In St. Lucia, I suspect the governing St. Lucia Labour Party has decided, maybe they have had a meeting, and as far as the tactics are concerned, they have decided that they will not be addressing homicides, whether it's a double homicide or triple homicide. They will not be addressing that because it certainly would pin them in a bad light and give the impression that they are incompetent. Instead, the tactic, I suspect, would be to focus on so-called low unemployment, high economic growth, sanitation napkins, $250,000 to go towards that, to finance for students, female students in our schools, etc. But 4 people could be murdered, 5 people could be murdered during one particular incident, and the Prime Minister of this country, the rest of the cabinet, they have resigned themselves to ignore those tragedies. What do you read into that? And so our question of the day, the NewsSpin question of the day is, triple homicide in Bardini and not a word from Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre. Why? Triple homicide in Bardini and not a word from Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre. Why? Leonard Spider Motut also addressed that same issue last evening during his program on Hot FM, Hot TV, that is Tell It Like It Is. That is the triple homicide in Bardini recently, and the fact that this is being ignored by the Prime Minister and the island's cabinet of ministers.
In a small country such as St. Lucia, 3 people were murdered in an instant. And to date, you have not heard from any authority, any outcry. You have not heard any statement. You have not heard a peep. Not a peep, not a peep, not a peep. Not even from the Minister of National Security. You did not hear a peep, not a word from the Minister of National Security. You did not hear a peep. after 3 people were murdered. It tells me that to our government, what matters, what counts, is political PR, and that the lives of St. Lucians is of no consequence, no importance, and that today we are living in a society here in St. Lucia where people being killed, even 3 at a time, is not a big deal, is not an issue, is not a concern of our government, who is charged with the responsibility for ensuring our safety and security in this country. Like I said, not a peep, not a peep, not a peep, not even from the Minister of National Security, not a peep. So, I want to highlight those things because the lives of individuals, the lives of St. Lucians, is not as if someone just run over a frog on the highway or run over a manicou, which we make a big fuss about. Manicou is endangered and all of that kind of thing, and quite rightly so. You're saying to me that the lives of St. Lucians is on that same level with a frog? That is not a subject of conversation, it's not a concern for the administration that is in office today, that is not of any consequence to the Minister of National Security? Well, this is a sad state of affairs that we have reached this situation in St. Lucia where a triple homicide has become normal and inconsequential in this country.
Then, as Spider Motut of the Opposition United Workers' Party speaking last evening during his Hot TV program, Tell It Like It Is. I remember earlier I referenced Antigua, and somebody died tragically, and the Prime Minister, who was in Miami at the time, sent out condolences. In that situation in Antigua, it was not even a homicide. It's that the young lady was crushed by a truck during the Labor Day celebrations. It was not a homicide. And yet still, he found it necessary to send out condolences. In the case of St. Lucia, we have, when issues of that nature happen, we have a Prime Minister who is comatose, who is in a state of inertia, does not see the necessity to address those issues. But if there is, something of a political flavor were to erupt, obviously he will mount the platform of the St. Lucia Labour Party and address those issues if it gives him and the SLP some kind of advantage. He will address it as well during the pre-cabinet press briefing. But this one is obviously so glaring when you have a triple homicide and the Prime Minister of a country of 180,000 people does not see the necessity to address it, primarily because of politics. He will appear as being weak and incompetent in that he is always finding himself in a position to speak on those issues that certainly would indicate some kind of weakness on the part of his administration. 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026. A good time to hear from you on the issues in the news and matters of concern. The Civil Service Association is 10 minutes away from hosting an extraordinary national general meeting. And that meeting is scheduled for the VBCC in Leclerc, 1 o'clock this afternoon. And it has surfaced primarily because the membership of the union is calling on the leadership to do a number of things, including ensuring that there is a financial audit of the CSA for the period 2018 to 2024. So therefore, that's warranted the emergency meeting that is scheduled for 1 o'clock this afternoon. And we had a report last evening on the DBS News World, and this report was filed by Miriam Montoute. Let's try to determine why exactly, among other things, that meeting is scheduled to take place within the next 9 minutes or so.
The May 6, 2025 Extraordinary National General Meeting is in response to petitions from members demanding the removal of certain individuals from the executive and a call for a forensic audit of the CSA's finances to cover the period 2018 to 2024. This comes after earlier concerns raised during an April 3rd extraordinary meeting regarding the handling of the trade union's finances. President of the CSA, Tekla Goodman, says that the lack of financial audits puts the union in a precarious situation.
Without financial reports or audited reports, we faced a lot of challenges, meaning the Labour Act states that all trade unions must present their financial audited accounts to the Registrar of Trade Union, who sits in the Labour Department. That has not happened. And that can have implications for us, because if we go against the law, CSA can be decertified as a union.
Additionally, Goodman says that the building housing the CSA's headquarters at Sanssouci is in a state of disrepair. She explains that in order to secure financing for repairs, financial institutions require audited financial statements, which the union has yet to provide. She also says that the CSA has lost out on grant funding opportunities that could benefit members because it has not been able to produce audited reports.
I am hoping that members, among all the noise and the talk, come to understand and realize what is important here. It is important that we get our finances in order. Also, it is important that members get involved in the organization that they contribute to every month. I am hoping that we, outside of the other petitions, make this one the most important one, the forensic audit of our finances, so that we can get our finances in order.
Regarding the ongoing situation at the island's public sector trade union, a reaction was sought Monday from Public Service Minister Dr. Virginia Albert Poyot.
We are hoping that if it is something that requires the attention of the Minister of Labour or as Minister of the Public Service, that I could play a role in trying to resolve any internal issues that they would need the help of the Minister. But all in all, the CSA is part of the Trade Union Federation, and if they have internal issues, the Trade Union Federation should assist them in resolving these matters.
For the DBS News World, Miriam Montoute reporting.
Miriam Montoute, thank you so much for this report. It was filed and aired last evening during the DBS News World. Let's hear from you right now at 452-2979, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026. Hello and good afternoon to you. You are on the air. Good afternoon to you, caller.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you.
Timothy, did I hear right? Free homicide this week?
Caller, where have you been?
Timothy?
Where are you calling from? Where are you calling from? Where
I'm
are you?
calling from Babuno.
Babuno, okay. And this thing has been in the news from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, up until, what, today? You're saying you have not heard about this triple homicide over in Bardini?
To be fair with you, Timothy, no.
Yeah.
No, I just heard that a while ago from your...
You're living under a rock, sir.
Timothy, I'm surprised to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
And
so maybe maybe like you, the Prime Minister is unaware of the triple homicide which occurred last week Wednesday. So maybe we should forgive him.
Timothy, I'm not kidding. I didn't hear that.
You don't have any TV. You don't have any no TV, no radio. You have no phone. You have no friends.
Timothy, I am not a man that lie for anything unnecessarily. I didn't hear that we had 3 homicide in St. Lucia.
And I suspect you don't lie. And I suspect you don't lie on a Tuesday as well.
Yes, you're correct. You're correct.
Okay.
But what baffles me there? The report from the Antigua Prime Minister, and you said it's not even a homicide. It was a vehicle that crushed a young lady, and the Prime Minister sent condolences to the country, to the family. And what really touched me, 3 homicides, not the Prime Minister, not a minister for national security. Nobody has said anything.
The guys are into jazz, man. They're enjoying the jazz.
What? So as though it shows me as though whoever dies, die. I don't care about that. Once it's not me. That's how I take it, Timothy. Once it's not me, whoever died, died. My goodness. 180-something thousand people, 3 homicide. The Prime Minister has not said not a word. Oh, where are we going from here? Where are we going from here under this government? People's lives doesn't really matter to him. Timothy, have a good afternoon.
You too, sir. Thank you so much for calling. Good afternoon to you, Amanda. Let's see if we have anything to report on regarding comments in the chat room.
Good afternoon, Tim. Good afternoon, New Spinners. Tim, someone says there, no, I believe him though. It happens so frequent that we can't even keep up now. A New Spinner says there, this is not a joke. I saw a picture. This is so sad. St. Lucia is not a real place. It hurts that there is a government in St. Lucia that says they are going to put the people first. What a shame, PJP. A commentary reads, question of the day. How many people can reach the ceiling of the house without using a ladder, step, stool, or any additional equipment? So why are St. Lucians accepting the St. Jude's Hospital to have low ceilings? Clown country. A New Spinner says, their team, my question for today is, why did the investment minister sign a contract for Galaxy to keep so much money? Another comment reads here, it's a bit of a long one. Focus on what matters. The St. Lucia Jazz Festival is meant to be a celebration of our culture, creativity, and unity. Instead, it's being used as a political tool, as if it were a campaign rally. This kind of politicization is not only disappointing, it is dangerous. It undermines the festival's true purpose and further deepens the divide in an already polarized nation. Elections in St. Lucia are contentious enough. Injecting partisan politics into cultural events only fuels division and keeps us in a cycle of distraction and fear. When a political party in power uses state resources to promote its image through events like the Jazz Festival, it raises serious questions about priorities and motives. Meanwhile, the real concerns of everyday St. Lucians are left unaddressed. Families continue to grapple with the high cost of food and fuel. Crime continues to rise, our healthcare system is under strain, access to affordable housing is limited, and too many young people are still searching for meaningful employment. This isn't just about a festival, it's about leadership, it's about integrity, it's about putting the people's need before political theatrics. St. Lucia deserves better. We need leaders who invest in solutions, not distractions. Someone says, their team, please leave the Prime Minister and the ministers alone. Let them enjoy their jazz. What's sweet in goat's mouth will be sour in their bam bam. Team, did you listen to the press conference this morning? To. A commentary reads, Dr. Albert Poyot, how are we to take anything you say seriously when after months of promising us an investigation into passports, we are still waiting? Back to you, Tim.
Thank you so much for that update, Amanda. Some more still to come on this, the most monitored talk show in the world. Via WhatsApp, somebody says the Prime Minister of St. Lucia gave the green light to the criminals when he blamed the crime on the geographic location of the island. He openly showed that he does not care about the loss of lives when he said that it was his dad who had experience as a policeman. The many hypocrite citizens welcomed all the above by saying on Street Vibes and talk shows, this is the time. The Bible said it. There is nothing we can do about crime. Timor Fee, Philip JPS St. Lucia Prime Minister and crew are directly responsible. They have given the power to the criminals, making them believe that they are untouchable. Let's see if we have a call on the landline. In the meantime, we have a WhatsApp message. This message reads, Tim, I don't understand how the SLP administration had a team to investigate the UWP corruption, which they claimed, and to date no one has been arrested or charged. Is it that the SLP administration could not find any corruption by the UWP? Asking for a friend. Election is next year. When will RF use the $10 million to assist St. Lucians with housing? Inquiring minds want to know. And another WhatsApp message reads, can you ask Wasco to send us some water in Jackmel Blackstone? 8 days tomorrow. We need water. And another WhatsApp message, not a peep, not a peep, not even a peep, not a pump, peep, peep, pump, pump. That is actually a WhatsApp message that I just got there. We have a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon. NewsSpin, you're on the air.
Good afternoon, Tim. How are you?
I'm okay, ma'am. How about you?
And how is Amanda? I'm fine, holding on.
Good afternoon, Cole.
Have
I'm
you
fine,
noticed
thank you.
the petition going around about the Ridgeway Beach?
Yes, I saw it on Facebook earlier today.
Okay, so where's the National Trust? Where is all the that don't want to be on my beach people? Huh? Hello?
They're obviously in St. Lucia, caller.
Everybody's quiet. They ready. Mumu tablets going rampant in St. Lucia. That's what I want to know. Where are they? Where are all the concerned citizens when what's happening at Ridgeway Beach? And Tim, I think you should for those who are not aware, maybe you should read the petition. Okay, Tim?
Okay, caller.
You heard me?
Yes, at some point in time.
I
will try to locate it.
I sent it for you, Tim.
Yes. But, I don't like to read those petitions. People who pen those petitions, they are hiding, and they would want a particular talk show host to fight their battle for them. They need to come forward.
It's not their battle, Tim. It's all of us battle.
But they need, if you're so concerned, you need to come forward and address that particular issue that is troubling you.
In a place where we've been victimized so much. Tim, in a place where we've been victimized so much, you saying that, Tim?
What about me? You're not afraid of me being victimized, caller?
No, Tim, you can hold. Tim, that's a different story. Oh. You're reading something from somebody. They can victimize you for that. But somebody will put that and put their name, and they're going to be victimized.
Caller, I could be victimized.
Supposing it's the supporter of the Labour Party and they don't want their name mentioned. Tim, it has nothing to do with that. What it has to do is a concern to all of us. That's a beach we all enjoy from a little girl. In fact, I grew up on that beach because my uncle was a manager when they had the first hotel, they had the Holiday Inn or something like that. I was a little girl, and that's where all of us used to go on vacation, sleep at the hotel and everything. All on that. Up to now, I'm a big woman. That's, it's a very nice beach, and I think that whatever is happening there, it should be controlled. Okay, Tim?
Yes, caller. But I believe too many people like to hide. If they're going to fight a particular cause, if you believe in that cause, you need to come out, show your face, and demonstrate openly that you want some kind of change to be effected, as opposed to be hiding behind some kind of petition. Not that I'm afraid of victimization, it happens to me ever so often, but I'm just saying some people like to hide behind petitions. 452-2979, your WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. Somebody says they're via WhatsApp. St. Lucia National Trust was dancing to Jack Don't Want Me to Bathe on My Beach for Kazabar Beach, but now it seems like Jack is dead. And let's see if we have another WhatsApp message to go through. But somebody is saying there via WhatsApp, somebody says that, Tim, do we still have the school feeding program going on? I have not checked, ma'am or sir, so I cannot confirm at this point in time. Let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. Somebody says there via WhatsApp, as a concerned citizen, United Workers' Party was in power, crime was there, people were being killed. Tell the opposition and yourself, stop taking everything political and paint the country red and yellow. That is not the issue. And you are being a hypocrite. I mean, not even disguising the fact that you're seeing this particular issue along political lines. I cannot call on the leader of the parliamentary opposition to address a triple homicide. I cannot call on any opposition member or even opposition senator because they can't do anything about it. They'll just talk. But you have a prime minister, and it is very rare in certain parts of the Caribbean where you have a prime minister who is also the minister of finance and also the minister of national security. Key portfolios. I mean, not even in Barbados. I think you have the prime minister being the finance minister as well. And now in Trinidad, Kamala Bassad-Bissessar is the prime minister, but she is not the minister with responsibility for finance and national security. In St. Lucia, the prime minister is well placed to address those issues. Do not tell me that in a small island like ours, that you have a triple homicide. And don't tell me that does not affect you. Don't tell me that you find it strange that the prime minister would ignore the fact that in one incident, one violent incident, 3 lives were lost. 3 lives were snuffed out. And in that same incident, 1 other person was injured. That person is fighting for his life as we speak. Okay. So if you're going to give the prime minister a break, don't criticize the prime minister. The MP for Bardini is Mr. Joachim Henry. He is the minister with responsibility for social transformation. He was on a talk show yesterday morning. Not a word about a triple homicide occurring in your constituency as the MP, and you want to be re-elected. You'd want the relatives of the deceased, the relatives of the other man who was injured, to vote for you if you are the endorsed candidate for Castries Southeast, and yet still you're not addressing that critical issue, that serious incident which occurred, that tragedy, the pain that friends and relatives of the deceased are experiencing now. You totally ignore it, but you invest so much time and energy on what? Period poverty because of a statement that was made by your opponent. Is that making sense to you? 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Somebody says there via WhatsApp, all the people saying we don't have medication at a hospital is a big lie. We have Mumu tablets given for free. You can be 80 and under. National Trust people are the pill distributors. Let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. Somebody says there, Tim, I remember a couple years ago, PJP said $5 can block a hole. Mean to tell me $6.55 for a large seabell tuna fish. Auntie, help us. And Amanda, anything's happening in the chat room worth reporting on?
Just a few comments from me, Tim. A NewsSpinner says there, once it's not me, I don't care equals one of our detrimental attitudes. Another comment reads, Tim, how can mothers with more than one child buy food? I'm not even saying healthy foods. I was shocked at the prices at the supermarkets. A NewsSpinner says here, do Black lives only matter abroad? When Berthamja was killed in the US, St. Lucia stood up. But when 3 local black men are murdered like dogs in the streets, there is a silence. Why? No pedigree, no politics. If Black lives matter, they must matter here to everyone, not just the privileged or the connected. Our outrage should not be selective. Justice isn't only for the elites. Back to you, Tim.
All right, thank you so much, Amanda. Let's see if we have another WhatsApp message to go through. Somebody says there via WhatsApp, Tim, once again, I am writing you. I'm hoping that this will prompt you to please read to alert Wasco of an issue involving resident in Kako Vigier in VA4 North they are experiencing. There is a Baptist church in VA4 North, Kako, that always has the water pipe open in the tanks with no stopper to stop the water from overflowing when the tanks are full. The water runs for hours, sometimes during the entire evening. People in Kako and Vigier are hardly getting water as a result. I was told that this has been reported to WASCO and no action is taken by the Water and Sewage Company. I am pleading with you to let WASCO know via your NewsSpin medium that people are not getting water as a result, and this is not fair. It is also known that the water meter to this same church is not functional, so there is no obligation on the church's part to do anything because it does not reflect on their bill. So, can you please, I'm begging you to alert WASCO of this so that they can look into it. I know action is taken when it's on NewsSpin, so this is why I'm pleading with you. So, WASCO has been duly informed of your concerns. 4522979, WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Somebody says there via WhatsApp, I love the Prime Minister of Antigua. He addresses everything. He's out of state and spoke about a lady who was killed at a Labor Day event when she fell off a truck and it rolled over her. He appears to be in tune with the Antiguan people. This is the most monitored talk show in the world. Still to come, some more of your calls, your WhatsApp messages, and we have the NewsSpin news of the day.
KFC's bringing the flavor and the vibes with the Jazz Box. Just $30. Get one zinger or big crunch sandwich, 5 undipped wings, fries, a biscuit, 15-ounce drink, and a shot at VIP Jazz Weekend for 2. Buy a Jazz Box at any of our 5 KFC locations. Write your name and number on the receipt and drop it in the entry box to enter. Draw takes place May 7th. VIP tickets for May 9th, 10th, and 11th could be yours. Available now till May 31st, only at KFC St. Lucia. Dine in, drive-through, or order online at kfcslu.com. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for Tombs. Call us in Vidbuta at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
Lucia wishes to advise customers and the public that its customer service offices at the Carolec building in San Souci and VA4 are temporarily closed to facilitate urgent maintenance. The Lucia Cantonment office in VA4 is now open on a limited basis, offering all services except payments. The Rodney Bay office remains open to serve customers. Customers who wish to make payments during this closure are encouraged to access the My Account service at myaccount.lucelec.com. SurePay's online and walk-in service options or participating financial institutions. Payments made via SurePay and My Account Direct on weekdays from 8 to 4 p.m. will be processed to customer accounts the same day. Payments made after 4 p.m. will be processed the next business day. For account balances, please dial the Automated Account Inquiry Service line at 457-4433. Customers can access other Lucelec services by using the virtual service desk at www.lucelec.com. The management of Lucelec deeply regrets any inconvenience caused by these closures and thanks its valued customers for their patience and understanding.
Get ready to jazz up your relaxation with M&C Home Depot and Sunbelt. This jazz season, we're turning up the style and the savings. Starting May 5th, enjoy 25% off umbrellas, folding chairs, and coolers. Pure jazz bliss. But hurry, it's for a limited time only. Head to M&C Home Depot or Sunbelt today and get 25% off and celebrate jazz in comfort and style. See in-store and online for details. Sale ends May 11th. Terms and conditions may apply.
Fast Pay, a new and easy way to pay. Fast Pay, Fast Pay.
You asked for it and you got it. A quicker way to pay your bills online. It's fast, secure, and easy to use. No registration, no additional fees. Flow is now offering FastPay, an online service that allows you to settle your bills in less than 2 minutes. Need a receipt? FastPay will send it to your email immediately. Use FastPay now for convenience, safety, and efficiency at discoverflow.co/fastpay.
FastPay, 2 minutes and you're on your way. FastPay, FastPay.
Flow is keeping you connected.
Stop. How much more pain can you take? Back pain, blinding headaches, numbness, weak knees, spinal injuries, stroke. You've tried everything. Nothing works. Enough. La Clinique du Corps has the experts and technology to diagnose and fix the problem permanently. Our specialist doctors use cutting-edge solutions to treat back pain, knee pain, sciatica, stroke recovery, spinal injuries, arthritis, heel pain, and more. With advanced pain management techniques, we provide fast, effective relief so you can live pain-free. La Clinique du Corps is an approved universal healthcare service provider in St. Lucia, accepting all approved insurance. Take back your life. Call La Clinique du Corps right now at 451-6559 to book your appointment. Pain stops here.
Essie, don't tell me that tire flat again. I just changed that tire.
Wait, what? You just changed that tire?
Well, I bought a used one because you didn't give me enough money.
Oh, I see. Well, you know what? Civic Tire Shop only carry brand new quality tires at affordable prices with free installation.
Hey, it seems you're working at Civic Tire Shop. How you know all that?
Come on, Brenda. The tire shop down the road from our home in the American Drywall Building.
Oh, yes. I forgot. Well, you know what, Patrick? Let's go there right now. Take your wallet. Let's go.
Civic Tire Shop, located at the American Drywall Building, Vic Boutte. Call or WhatsApp 584-5986. Civic Tire Shop. Pay less, drive more.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
This is the most monitored talk show in the world. We continue with your calls and your WhatsApp messages, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. Somebody says there via WhatsApp, Tim, when Philip J. Pierre was in opposition, he was on the media. Now he's Prime Minister and is fearful of the platform where he used to voice himself. Kenny and Pierre have that thing in common. It is a Labour ideology. Another WhatsApp message. Somebody says that you hit the nail on its head concerning Joachim. I'm from Castries Southeast. I have not seen nor felt Joachim on the ground within the community since this incident. However, I apologize to you. Certainly embarrassing. Okay, let me continue with this WhatsApp message. It reads there, you hit the nail on its head concerning Joachim. I'm from Castries Southeast. I have not seen nor felt him on the ground within the community since this incident. However, a month or so ago, he painted a wall. Vote Joachim Henry. Why? Ask Spider. He seems to know. I want Mr. Henry to know that there are many more walls. Guess it is nature as social transformation minister to paint a message that will inflict change. Shaking my head, Castries Southeast, wake up. Let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. It reads there, help me save a life by preventing an accident. The crossing guard at the Bexall Primary and Infant School leaves between 8:30 and 8:45. School starts at 9 a.m. The same thing happens in the afternoon. She leaves early, leaving students to fend for themselves. Can the authorities please help to prevent a death? Thank you, Tim. Another WhatsApp message. Somebody says there, good afternoon. St. Lucians, how many more must die for us to stand together? You have adopted a foreign policy in our country of not caring for one another. We say that we do not carry our grandparents' actions and morals. And these morals have allowed us to be better people. Let's stop the back and forth and allow our nation to lead and not copy others. Also, I reached out to you last week about my barrel situation, and it has been 3 months now and still not a word. St. Lucians, I know it's not just me who have not received my barrels. Helen has a serious problem and she needs her daughters and sons to rise up. Another WhatsApp message, and it reads, Tim, I understand that the triple murder occurred in Chopin, and if correct, this area. I heard the MP made a statement during the news broadcast at 11:45 a.m. today. Chopin is in Bardini, but the person is saying that it's in Ancillary Canaries, but it is not in Ancillary Canaries. It is in Bardini, which is the Castries southeast constituency. Another WhatsApp message, and it reads, Tim, I'm seeing 3 ministers having lunch while NewsSpin is playing in the background. So, good afternoon to those ministers for having lunch while they are listening to the most monitored talk show in the world. Somebody says that, Tim, on a serious note, just imagine I was having a convo with an SLP supporter. He was claiming and adamant that the economy was doing so well. I asked him a simple question. If the economy is doing well, how comes we don't have medication at our hospital? Could you imagine the man responded by claiming the hospitals don't have medicine because the staff at the hospitals are stealing the medicine? Can you imagine? That's how low some will go just to support a party. Shame. A WhatsApp message just coming to hand, which I read. The other person says, this person is watching or listening to the broadcast from St. Vincent. The issue with the CSA is most alarming. How can an institution with such pedigree, political included, not able to have its audited statements prepared on time? How is responsible for this fiasco, or who is responsible for fiasco? While the CSA was actively, though some of its members politicking against the Alan Shastny administration, the House was falling around their ears and no one took notice. I agree that a forensic audit is urgently needed, for only through this exercise will the members of the CSA and the St. Lucian public know the unvarnished truth.
Tim, good day. Let me...
The only place you can congregate legally in town is the Constitution Park. Why is there a no loitering sign? And let's see if we have some more of your WhatsApp messages. Somebody says there, so the church doesn't have not one member staying in the area to close the pipe. How are we? We'll be hearing from one of the church members in just a moment. I think is in defense of the church. Somebody sent me a voice note moments ago.
Tim, good day. Let me speak on behalf of the church because it's my church. Whoever gave you that information did not give you the accurate information. We are paying some large bills, okay? Furthermore, what happens is that because Wasco does not give water all the time, we usually open the tank to get water to go into the building. Now, sometimes you leave, Tim, and you forget to close the tank. So what would happen is that sometimes when the water comes, the floater doesn't always work all the time, so the water will be overflowing. Now, here's the other thing about it. The meter is just by the road. Everybody's seen it. Anybody who sees that could just close the pipe. Okay? But they're letting it run. Because it's a church. They're letting it run. And then you call in complaining. But the meter is just by the road. You can just close it. You understand? We will be well happy if you could close it for us, because it is not, because there's not always water. You find you always have to open the tank. And then when you check yourself, everybody leaves and then you forget to close the pipe. So at the end of the day, it is not deliberate that we leave the pipe open. But at the end of the day, if you are a concerned citizen, the least you could do is close the pipe when you pass in, because there is access to the meter right by the road. You can close the pipe.
Thank you so much for that voice note in defense of your church, NewsSpinner. I think we have another voice note somebody sent. We'll be playing it in just a moment. But in the meantime, we have a call via WhatsApp. Hello. Good afternoon to you. You are on the air.
Hi, good afternoon, Tim.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm okay, Dr. Sylvia Wilson. Good afternoon to you.
It looks like only Rick that can get the line. From last week, I've been trying to get you.
And Rick is also encountering difficulties as well getting the line. So many people are calling at the same time. Go ahead, ma'am.
Anyway, there are a few things that I want to touch on. And one of them is the 100th anniversary of Sir John. And especially for the people of Miku who were foot soldiers with Sir John and stayed with him throughout his political career. Also, I'd like to mention, to me, in my mind, Sir John has been actually transformed the landscape of St. Lucia when he came back from the UK and started his political life in St. Lucia and what he did for St. Lucia. So we saw that Sir John actually, a lot of the Miku people who were working in Dennery on the farms, on the sugar cane, they actually got land through what we call crown grants and were able to plant their bananas, build their houses, and in other words, he empowered, a lot of St. Lucians in that particular time. Also, we saw Sir John put in the infrastructure, our East Coast Road, West Coast Road, the water, the tunnel, housing, and schools, health centers, all of that. And in that particular time, Sir John set what we call the infrastructure and institutions that we have in St. Lucia, like SLASPA, NIC, So today, we are looking at our group of politicians actually taking all of the work that was done, all of what the hard work that was done by politicians and individuals, because not only Sir John, but the people who worked with Sir John as patriots, you understand me, to have us, to empower us with certain institutions and to have us proud as St. Lucians to actually list our ports for next to nothing for 40 years, take our passports and for CIP money, and Tim, the billions of dollars should be going into the hospital. We should not be taking a loan with the Saudis for 250 million. Their CIP money should have finished St. Jude's and give us the state-of-the-art hospital whereby we can look at the other 30 years of having a modern hospital and taking care of our people. So when people like Aaron Alexander, they are demonstrating for Burkina Faso, they should learn from the lessons of Burkina Faso that the president of Burkina Faso, Mali, Chad, even Namibia are taking their resources right now and building their country. Okay? Mali now used to recognize at least $1 billion in uranium. Right now they are getting $300 billion of revenue back, and that is going back into their country. So why is it that we in the Caribbean, that's supposed to be progressive and intellectuals, that we cannot use our resources in the interests of our people? So that the ghettos that we have around Castries, that we cannot give proper housing, proper roads, and our hospitals are running on their bearings. Because when the Medical and Dental Association writes the board, these are people who have left the operating theater, who have left maternity, patients to sit down and write government. Okay, that's not anything political. When professionals have left their work and can sit down and write to the board and tell them, listen, the conditions of the hospital right now is not good. That has nothing to do with Zelev. These are people who every day have to save a life. So I want to ask the young men who are in the government right now, are they doing like the puppets of the African continents? Or are they learning from the guys like Abraham Traore and Mali and even Namibia, who is now giving education from primary school to university free? Are we using our resources for the benefit of our country? So, and you know, and St. Lucian should really understand that, because if we can use our passport and we can, the galaxy cannot give us our money so that we can develop our country, are we really working in the interest of our country?
Thank you so much, ma'am. Just heard there from Dr. Sylvia Wilson. Thank you so much for your contribution. WhatsApp message, somebody says, Tim, in response to this voice note referring there to the gentleman who called in defense of the church, I don't want to put anyone on the spot, but there has been many occasions when the pipe is closed and the reaction/response from the church members are not favorable. I can say that because I have first-hand information on that. And let me see if I have another WhatsApp message. Amanda, do you have any comments in the chat room to report on?
I believe I have a few, Tim.
Yes, go ahead, ma'am.
A few comments from Ilya. A NewsSpinner says here, a prime minister and the minister of crime prevention, and yet still not one of them can come out and talk about the crimes that's going on in St. Lucia. Now the comment reads, at the time of Bertham's death, Black lives and the people of St. Lucia mattered to Alan Chasney. Let us remember Alan went all the way to Texas to stand with his parents at that time. PJP not even visiting those right here in St. Lucia. A NewsSpinner says there nothing matters to the government at this point other than jazz. Come next month, the talk will be carnival and drink and party and pretend that all is nice and rosy, while ministers dance and sing Shake It to the Max in the House of Assembly. Shake my head. Another comment reads, the subject matter of $2 billion lost is troubling. Everyone seems nonchalant on this matter. This money going down the drain is disturbing while our health and other sectors suffer. Another comment reads, someone says here, I am now convinced that there is nothing you can say to educate some people. A young man who I appreciate because he is a real hustler. You should hear him about white man being prime minister. Mwen hot puli awa. A comment here reads, Jenin isn't standing up for that as a daughter and a National Trust member to save anything. Back to you, Tim.
Thank you so much. We have a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Hey, Tim. Good day. How are you doing?
I'm okay, caller. Good afternoon to you.
Yes, good day to Amanda.
Good afternoon, caller.
Tim, having looked at Dale Elliott's untold story on the St. Jude's, it was very interesting to listen to the contractor's version of things. He made two statements that I want to, in fact, one statement that I want to expand on. When he said cost does not matter, Tim, in terms of how much is being spent on St. Jude's and the flying materials and so on in rather than shipping them. So much so that he said that the amount of money he spent, he could have purchased British Airways. You heard that, Tim?
Yeah.
Tim, that is something, but let us put that alongside what we have been hearing and seeing the government is doing. In terms of the housing projects and the road, Rodney Bay Road, cost does not matter. So that's a philosophy. What Mr. Kajada is saying reflects exactly what the Prime Minister is saying. Passport, it doesn't matter how much money is out on passport. That does not matter. The cost does not matter. Housing project, cost, road costs, extra money, cost, inflated project costs, that does not matter. What matters is getting the materials.
Are you there, caller? I suspect we have lost the caller. Well, so you could call back at 452-2979 or WhatsApp 716-2026. Let me go through another WhatsApp message. Somebody says there, when I look at our Prime Minister's actions and listen to his speeches and responses to questions, personally, I think that he wanted the position, the title of Prime Minister, but not the responsibility it carries. About Iran's protest for Traoré, the same thing had happened in Africa that individual is happening right here, and not a word, not a word. Demonstrate about it too. Our ports, our passports, etc. Another WhatsApp message. Tim, I would like the Prime Minister of St. Lucia to explain to the nation, particularly the farmers, why insurance for the farmers should be politicized. Why would he tell the farmers at a meeting in the Dennery Valley that the government will establish an insurance policy for the farmers, but if the government loses the upcoming election, the policy will no longer exist? What is going on in the country? Does it matter which political party forms the government where an insurance policy for the farmers is concerned? In light of the above, I would like to highlight the following. Crop and livestock insurance is crucial for farmers, providing financial protection against natural disasters, pests, and diseases. 2. Linking the existence of such policies to election outcomes can create uncertainty and undermine trust in governmental commitments. 3. I understand that changes in government can lead to shifts in policy priorities. However, essential services like insurance for farmers should ideally be insulated from political whims to ensure stability. 4. Statements suggesting that vital policies could be revoked based on election results may erode public confidence in political leaders and institutions. And 5. The welfare of farmers and the agricultural sector should ideally transcend the political lines, focusing on sustainable and continuous support. We have a call. Good afternoon. NewsSpin, you're on the air.
Hello, good afternoon, Tim.
Hi, good afternoon to you, caller.
Yes, Tim. I just wanted to relate to the lady that called. I heard you mention her name based on what is going on with our ports and what is happening to our country and the mass selling of state assets for personal benefits when it comes to the St. Lucia Labour Party, Tim. And it is a very sad situation that we have found ourselves in, that our airport is going to be given away for 40 years. Our seaport is going to be given away for 40 years. Our passports, we have a water crisis, Tim. I always call in about the water crisis, Tim, because water is life. And it seems to me that no politician do not care, Tim. That is why I always call under the resignation of the Minister for Security. And I want to tell the Minister for Housing, he promised the people that he's going to build 2 condos. He was there with Joachim in Cul-de-sac. To a day like today, we don't have those condos. And Philip JPA gave him $10 million. This is the same way he broke down the CDCs, and before he broke down the CDCs, he relieved everybody debt. He said, "Everybody, I'm going to pay all debt for y'all. You're going to have your condos." It's 4 years now. Tim, I noticed they build a hospital for you specifically, and all the short people like Dominic today. Tim, I'm a tall man, so I'll not be able to go in that hospital. But it is very sad and a sad situation that over $200 million has been spent for something like this. You understand? It is the same way Philip JP said he never saw any airport with upstairs and downstairs. So he will downgrade the airport, sell the airport for 40 years. And it is just a catastrophe. I'm calling the St. Lucia Labour Party supporters not to just be blindly supporting party, not to, even if you do not like Alan Shasney, but when the United Workers' Party is in office, everybody wins them. I thank you.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for calling. 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Somebody says they're via WhatsApp. Tim, as a parent, I'm putting my child first with education, nutritious food, Christmas gifts, allowance, increases, etc. And God forbid a child dies. Would that not trigger a complex mix of emotions? The government of the day surely behaves differently when it's people who they pledge to put first with salary increases, vouchers, sanitary napkins, scholarships, contracts, etc. dying. Not a pip, not a peep, not a pop. 452-2979. Let me see if I have another WhatsApp message. Somebody says there, Tim, in time for election, you'll see the CIP monies spending wildly. Another one says, yes, Tim, the ministers and Prime Minister have told us, Lucians, to shake it to the max. Put our hands on our faces and shake it to the max. Another one says, Tim, talking about killing right now is not on their agenda. Let the jazz go away, and then we will talk. More WhatsApp messages. Housing, we are living in poor conditions. The money was given to help those who are in need of housing. I wonder who will catch the bamboo flower this year or next year. Good afternoon, everyone. And let's take a call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You on the air?
Good afternoon, Fue.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you. Bon après-midi.
Good afternoon, sir. That's Amanda. That's sister. That's Creole. That's sister for in Creole.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Amanda. All right, Tim. First off, let me big up Senior Rigobert. And even though he said yesterday he cannot stand and he's going to lay down by his word, let him know, as long as I have feet, I'm going to stand for him. Okay? Big up yourself, Mr. Rigobert. But Tim, my contribution today is going to be very short. In light of the water situation in a church in Kako, which is very close to my house, very close to my heart. I'm from Piero V4. So I'd like to big up Daddy Alloy. Anybody from Piero, Kako, VG area would know who Daddy Alloy is. Daddy Alloy is a man who brought us potable water for the better part of 50 years. When we could not depend on Wasal, when we could not depend on Wisco, we could always walk to the place they call the Wali in Piero V4 and take a proper shower and have drinkable water. And the greatest thing about it is, Tim, Daddy Alloy did it free of charge off of his own pockets. So let's not wait for Daddy Alloy to die before we recognize Daddy Alloy. And in my humble opinion, Daddy Alloy deserves a statue in the middle of the Piero Kako Gap. Thank you, Tim. Have a great day, Amanda. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much for calling. We have another call via WhatsApp. Hello. Good afternoon. Hello. I think we have lost that call. Let's see if we could get some more calls. We have a WhatsApp message in the meantime. Somebody says via WhatsApp, Tim, what is the status of DSH? I don't know. The authorities will certainly, I'm sure they're in a position to inform you of this. Let's see if we have another WhatsApp message to go through. Once again, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. 716-2026. Somebody says there, yep, the focus is on jazz. Then immediately after it will be on Carnival. And immediately after it will be on Journée Creole. And immediately after it will be on St. Cecilia's Day. And immediately after it will be on Christmas. What's wrong with that? Lucian people are happy people. We live in a party land. Cheers to happiness. A call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon. You're on the air.
Hi, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Tim.
Yes,
good
sir.
afternoon, Amanda.
Good afternoon to you, Colin.
And good afternoon to the listeners and viewers. Tim, I listened to part of the press conference that the opposition had this morning. And to summarize the press conference, the contribution by both Guy Joseph and the political leader Alan Chastanet, St. Lucia is in serious, serious trouble. Now, one question I need to ask, concerning those contracts, Tim, or that contract with BMAC, be it BMAX or Caribbean Galaxy, where was the Attorney General. Ernest Healy, as far as I know, he may have a PhD, but he is not a lawyer. And I know that there are lawyers, in-house lawyers in the government and outside of government who would have perused those documents or those contracts. How on earth in 2024, in this century, that anybody in their right mind could go into contracts of that nature with any company? No layperson team would go into that kind of deal. And now, what it sounds like, Caribbean Galaxies seem to have the government of St. Lucia and Ernest Healy. He has to take full responsibility for this. We seem to have them by the throat, by the short and curlies. We are in serious trouble. This thing is a bigger mess than we ever thought of. And this thing needs some skill to be handled properly, Tim. I am not even sure how Philippe J. or any member of his cabinet is going to try and reverse this thing or to remedy this situation. But we stand a chance with Alan Chasney at the helm of this country, at least to get some redress. I think he has shown that he has the skill to negotiate and to handle those big issues. Let me give you an example here. A few years ago, I think one of the major cruise lines, I think it may have been Caribbean Cruise Lines, they indicated that they would not come into St. Lucia. You know? They were not going to come and serve this country anymore. When Alan Chasney got news of that, he jumped on a plane, uninvited, carried Guy Joseph along with him. When he arrived in Miami, the owners of Caribbean Cruise Lines, they were amazed. They were, as was said to him, and I'm not quoting him directly, "What are you doing here?" He he went in there and he negotiated and he had them to change their minds. Tell me something. Is there anybody now in this government you see who have that kind of nous, that kind of clout, or that kind of bravado? What have that kind of skill to do that, to negotiate on our behalf? Would you send Ernest Healy, Richard Frederick, Philippe J. Pierre, any one of these people to negotiate for you? Would they even have the confidence to get off the backside and to go and do what Alan Chasney did? No. And in this time, till where we have this tariff turbulence that is hitting the world with Donald Trump, that is the kind of leader that we need. Because things are only going to get rougher, it's only going to get tougher, and Ernest Healy has put this country in it's in a downward spiral. That passport thing, that CIP thing, Tim, that is going to blow St. Lucia out of the waters. And we need somebody with the skill, the leadership of Alan Chasney to handle it and maybe to get us back to where we should be. That's my contribution.
Thank you so much for sharing it with us. Still to come, some more of your calls, WhatsApp messages, and of course, we still have the NewsSpin news of the day.
On Saturday, June 14th, as the island ignites at Lumina, taking over Project Chocolat, Mikal Tesha. Mikal Tesha. Mikal Tesha.
You're insane, call out in New York City. If you're yes, she ballin', I need a little rundown.
Alongside soca sensations Ezra and Slide. Backed up by the electrifying Impulse Band. Music by Hype Kid, A1 Jugglers, the Caleb DJ Sir Lancelot. Powered by Island Sounds. Hosted by MC Donoville. Tickets $130, no door sales. Get yours at the Cell Island Wide, Mambo's Bar in Soufriere, or online at 4circlestickets.com. On Saturday, June 14th, Lumina. From 7 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. Dress code Caribbean chic.
Lucia wishes to advise customers and the public that its customer service offices at the Carolec building in Sans Souci and Vieux are temporarily closed to facilitate urgent maintenance. The Lucia Cantonment office in Vieux is now open on a limited basis, offering all services except payments. The Rodney Bay office remains open to serve customers. Customers who wish to make payments during this closure are encouraged to access the My Account service at myaccount.lucelec.com. SurePay's online and walk-in service options or participating financial institutions. Payments made via SurePay and My Account Direct on weekdays from 8 to 4 p.m. will be processed to customer accounts the same day. Payments made after 4 p.m. will be processed the next business day. For account balances, please dial the automated account inquiry service line at 457-4433. Customers can access other Lucelec services by using the virtual service desk at www.lucelec.com. The management of Lucelec deeply regrets any inconvenience caused by these closures and thanks its valued customers for their patience and understanding.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Here's a fun fact. In just 29 seconds, you can say goodbye to paper bills forever. Seriously, in 29 seconds. That's less time than this ad. Head over to discoverflow.co or visit us in-store and update your contact information now. By October 1st, your bills will be digital, easy to access, secure, and hassle-free. So what are you waiting for? This ad still has 2 seconds left, and you could have already gone paperless.
I in a good spirit. I drink in a good
St. Lucia, are you ready for the ultimate all-inclusive?
Chalet Blanc, the all-white event. Tier 1 now available at Frontline Ticketing, Eventbrite, Digicel Baywalk Mall, 4 Circles Ticketing, or WhatsApp at 240-344-8629. A musical journey curated by the best local and international DJs. St. Lucia Carnival Saturday, July 19th, 1 p.m. to 8 p.m.
At Sanders Golf and Country Club, Kappa State.
Look something to talk about.
Unlimited drinks, brunch buffet, top-class entertainment.
Stay tuned. The event is powered by One Golden Fox and Natalie Events.
Stop. How much more pain can you take? Back pain, blinding headaches, numbness, weak knees, spinal injuries, stroke. You've tried everything. Nothing works. Enough. La Clinique du Corps has the experts and technology to diagnose and fix the problem permanently. Our specialist doctors use cutting-edge solutions to treat back pain, knee pain, sciatica, stroke recovery, spinal injuries, arthritis, heel pain, and more. With advanced pain management techniques, we provide fast, effective relief so you can live pain-free. La Clinique du Corps is an approved universal healthcare service provider in St. Lucia, accepting all approved insurance. Take back your life. Call La Clinique du Corps right now at 451-6559 to book your appointment. Pain stops here.
Get ready to jazz up your relaxation with M&C Home Depot and Sunbelt. This jazz season, we're turning up the style and the savings. Starting May 5th, enjoy 25% off umbrellas, folding chairs, and coolers. Pure jazz bliss. But hurry, it's for a limited time only. Head to M&C Home Depot or Sunbelt today and get 25% off and celebrate jazz in comfort and style. See in-store and online for details. Sale ends May 11th. Terms and conditions may apply.
This is the most monitored talk show in the world. We have a WhatsApp message. It reads, I listened to the opposition leader's speech and saw the documents presented on FB. I won't write too much to bore you, but people just swallow anything given to them. Two things Alan Shastney said that made no sense, and none of his people are questioning. One, the new MOA signed is for £250,000 for a family of 4. How can you calculate 6,000 passports by 250,000 and say that government has given Galaxy $1.5 billion? Can one passport serve 4 people? And will most people buy for a family of 4 rather than a combination of the 250K and the 100K? How can he say government has given Galaxy $1.5 billion? He's basically saying government gave Galaxy 6,000 passports and said, just give us $100 million. And people actually believe this. I did have respect for Shastney, but I think they are just losing credibility in my books, that lots of people just accept whatever they say. So guess that's how they expect to get into office. But it's disingenuous. Call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon. NewsSpin, you on the air. Hello. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you, caller.
Yes, good afternoon to you and Amanda. How are you guys doing?
Okay.
Good afternoon, caller.
Yes, I just this message that you read. I mean, I think I could start with this. I mean, I have heard the leader of the opposition said it's not 6,000 passports, it's 6,000 files, and one file contains 4 passports. So a family of 4 could apply, and that would be one file. So the person who just wrote this message, you misunderstood, from my understanding.
That's the extent.
And the other thing.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. The other thing. I mean, even earlier on, you read a message, and somebody was responding to your message, and I mean, it's really a shame. You, as a man, I know the position that you hold, and I think we all should understand your position, where you cannot be biased or project in light of one political party. But you're making a statement, and somebody's still criticizing you. I think that is a real shame, because it goes to show our way of thinking, the way we process information, who we are as a nation. And we there, it's like on the international stage, and people see these things, they hear these things, and even all the insults and everything people write on there. It's really shameful. I'm being honest. Like, look, we have Ernest Hillier. He's supposed to give a report. Well, 2 actually. The last one he gave was over a year late. That is more than a red flag. His boss is not saying anything about it. That is another concern to me. We have all the situation with the passports, CIP, and you name it. All these things are there. Nobody are talking about it. Or let me not say nobody, but even when some of us talk about it, some people still criticize or ridicule and say all this kind of nonsense. It goes to show that we probably are okay with being doomed, some of us. And it's true I'm not on the island, but it still bothers me. How could people on the island not be bothered, not be concerned, not be interested in what's going on in their own country? Most of us have children. What are the lives of our children going to be? Nobody's even talking about holding these guys responsible as such. I mean, this should be something that, I don't promote violence, but people should be really uncomfortable from the boots with this thing. Preventing these ministers from continuing with this thing. And he's going in the house, they're going in the house, everything they're making it political. Even when you talk about something, they're talking about, don't make it political. How could it not be when it's politicians giving us the reasons to do all of these things? The Prime Minister, when he speaks, he's, for example, protect the victory. It's up to us to understand what he means. He knows what he's saying, but he's speaking to us in parables. So we not paying attention to what he's saying and finding out the meaning of what he means puts us in danger. They have their own agenda. Like, look at, as you mentioned earlier, all the homicides or whatever, they're not saying anything. The way I see it, our Prime Minister, he's like, imagine there's a valley, he goes there, sets a fire. So sticks in the back, jump on his horse and run up to the hills. Nobody sees him. And he's standing there watching. Who's going to grab a hose? Who's going to grab a bucket? Who's going to try to save those in danger of the fire or whatever? And then he comes and he bashes everybody. And he looks like the good guy. He looks like the one who saves the day. Like Spider said one time, he had a bread. This guy, he took the bread, he's giving you half of it, and then he's saying half of bread is better than none. Half a loaf is better than none. I agree with Spider when he said, I had one already, I want two. Not half of what I had. And people are not realizing what it is. Like with the program with the, after 20 years of service, you could retire, the officers could retire and stuff like that. Tim, I personally know a guy who was in the fire service, and he retired on that program. Just before he retired, the government scrapped it. Now they're reintroducing it, and it looks like, oh, it's their idea. It's something good that they offer. It was there already. People are not realizing these things, and it puts us in trouble. I saw a guy on Facebook. Tim, could you imagine? The guy's cup is red. His plate is red. He has a red flag. His shirt is red. His pants is red. Even the pail the guy is using to, I guess, defecate, he's boasting it's red. And he's feeling so proud of his parties in power and all that kind of stuff. And I'm saying, like, I'm feeling embarrassed. You rejoice in your parties in power and you don't even have a toilet. And that thing is on social media, on Facebook, everybody. And you're so proud of it. Like, what is this country coming to? You know, I don't know, Tim, but I do not know what else he could say. I do not know what else Rick could say. I do not know what the leader of the opposition could say to have people wake up. Now, everything is period poverty because of what Guy Joseph said. I mean, I understood what Guy Joseph said. I don't agree entirely with the way he said it, but I understand what he said. And it makes sense. Like, you cannot put a band-aid on a limb that is pretty much severed and say you fix it. Instead of contributing that towards $250,000 for secondary schools. I mean, what about primary schools? You know, you cannot say it's only secondary schools and you fix the problem. Why not make it more affordable? And then the overflow would go to the schools, because in terms of menstruation, it's not to say something that a young lady could plan to say, okay, I'm going to plan for it to start at 12 o'clock when I'm in school. Sometimes you leave home, everything is fine, and all of a sudden they're in school and they're in trouble. So that's the overflow. But first of all, you need to make it more affordable so that they could be able to buy it from the stores. If you can't afford it from the stores, what's the point of putting it in schools? Not every day is not a school day. And, you know, it's just, and he's bragging and boasting. In my opinion, that's not even something that the PM should talk about. Everything he wants to make it like a political game. And then he's saying the opposition is politicizing everything. I think we should pay attention to what he said during COVID. He wants the country to go back to normal. I do not know what that is, but I think we should pay attention to that.
Where you
you know what, Tim? I'll stop here.
Where you calling from? Where you calling from, caller?
I'm in Canada right now.
All right, okay. Thank you so much for calling.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
All right, you too. WhatsApp message, somebody says, Jazz and Carnival dominate the headlines, but behind the scenes, grocery prices are killing us. Mothers cannot feed their children. It's frustrating to see public money go towards appearances and celebrations while we suffer. And let's see if we have a couple of WhatsApp messages to go through before we conclude the broadcast. Have you ever heard of a government calling on the people to protect themselves? Shouldn't it be the other way around? And another WhatsApp message, somebody says there, caller, when you hear UWP, you instantly think Sir John. Shah still has an open beef with the wife and daughter of the father of the nation. Until this relationship is fixed, the die-hard Flobos will stay home next election, and we all know how that went. Another WhatsApp message says there, Tim, this place in VA4 where the man spoke of in Peru was a lifesaver after Thomas. The person says also, I live in Marigot and had to drive down to VA4 and take a line just to get fresh water from Daddy Alo. Another comment. Tim, can the Prime Minister speak Creole? Why are you posing that question to me? I think from time to time, it shows that he can speak a little Creole, not a lot. Somebody says there via WhatsApp, Tim, sadly the average St. Lucian does not comprehend 95% of the subject matters discussed, such as CIP and DSH. All there is things such as the economy is doing well, such a set of gullible individuals. WhatsApp message, okay? Those are not my words. Another one. Tim, did the Prime Minister mean mornal or morning? That's where we are. Okay, another one via WhatsApp. Let's see if we have another message. Okay, I think that'll do it in terms of the WhatsApp messages. Okay, somebody says there also via WhatsApp. Tim, this morning I heard Janine Compton Antoine saying that they weren't aware or invited to Sir John's 100th birthday celebrations by the UWP. My question is why they didn't put something in place to celebrate him. These people have to realize it's their father who served and not them. Shaking my head. Another WhatsApp message. I understand this guy regarding the church and water. In my area is a business place. Water was taken in the area and about 6 p.m. it returned. A neighbor and I noticed a huge flow of water coming from the building. We realized the pipe is left open. We closed the main and problem solved. In the morning, the owner was informed. Another WhatsApp message. Somebody says there, Tim, big up my rep, Uncle Shas, keeping the pressure on, and he's doing a good job at it. Another WhatsApp message. How do we know that the Prime Minister isn't reading Creole? Okay. I think that'll do it in terms of our WhatsApp messages. Somebody says, okay. Tim, do we still have congregate Jeremy Street under CCC instead? Okay, whatever that means. Amanda, do we have any comments to go through in the chat room?
Just a few.
Okay, somebody says, Tim, it is really sad a mother lost 2 sons in that shooting and not a word from the PM, the district rep, etc. Timor Fee, St. Lucia, finish we. Any comments in the chat room before we conclude?
I have a few. A few comments from earlier. Someone says here, the only resource we have is the people and we're here killing each other. Another comment reads, from any government trying to raise funds by selling passports instead of pushing manufacturing and boosting agriculture, we're screwed. A NewsSpinner says here, more cost overruns at the expense of taxpayers. Someone says here, the Prime Minister has more than the necessary 2/3 majority to enshrine things into law. If he wants to make sure the farmers keep the insurance, why didn't the Prime Minister make the insurance permanent? Someone says here, when Labours are in opposition, nothing is going well. But when they are in office, the same thing that they were against is best for them. That's how dishonest they are. St. Lucia will go to the gutters with these Labours. And that's it for me, Tim.
All right, thank you so much, Amanda, for that update. Let me turn my attention now to our NewsSpin News of the Day. The NewsSpin News of the Day reads, Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar was forced to work from home on what would have been her first official day in office yesterday due to what some say is the dysfunctional and unfit state of Whitehall in Port of Spain. Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar was forced to work from home on what would have been her first official day in office yesterday due to what some say is the dysfunctional and unfit state of Whitehall in Port of Spain. That's news coming out of Trinidad and Tobago. That's the broadcast. Thank you so much for watching and listening to another edition of the world's most monitored talk show. My name is Timothy Poleon. Goodbye.